Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to a special What the Papers Didn't Say edition of What the Papers Say. With me, Deek Jackson, on my 100 gigabyte data challenge. I'm here in Kendal, in the Lake District. Yesterday I was in Darlington, and then I went to Nottingham, and now I'm here. It was quite a challenging drive. The weather is awful, and yeah, glad to be here. And so, what the papers didn't say. I put the phone number in the thumbnail, but not in the title. The phone number, as always, is 07903 953 759 if you would like to discuss what the papers didn't say. So I'm not buying a paper today because I simply will not pay £3.50 to read some pish, some hack got paid to spout on behalf of his, good morning Bugs Bunny, on behalf of his Russian billionaire newspaper owner, insert newspaper owner of your ilk. So instead what we have is a retrospective over the last week's newspapers and what they have been reporting, or rather what they haven't been reporting. Reading between the lines, if you will. Freeman, Alba Woodtink, nice. I feel a bit like a woodtink myself. Juan Fernandez, good morning. So, I'll tell you what the papers didn't say. In bold type, this is a giant headline. You don't even need to read Gomez. Well, Juan, why is your name Fernandez? If you want to be called Juan Gomez, why does it say Javier Fernandez? I'm just asking, Mr. Gomez. Anyway, answers on a postcard, please. Anyway, please don't distract me. I'm on a run here. Giant headline in between the lines. What the papers don't say. Huge print. No picture. Coronavirus. It's the law. It's the law. Like Judge Dredd. Literally like Judge Dredd. Coronavirus. It's the law. Whatever it is, it's the law. Oh, coronavirus, it's the law. You have to wear a mask. Coronavirus, it's the law. You have to sanitize your hands. Coronavirus, it's the law. This morning, I swear what I'm going to tell you is absolutely true. I went to Morrison's at 9 o'clock this morning. There's a security guard standing there. I can see him now, dressed like a fucking stormtrooper. With his Dayglow stab vest and fake taser pouch. Emboldened and empowered by the theatre of his dress, I approached the door and he said, "I'm sorry, NHS only till 9:30. It's the law." It's the law. A marketing stunt by Morrison's. It's the law. Coronavirus. It's the law. Our PR department is making up law. It's only NHS till 9:30 because Jenny in marketing thought it was a good idea. And now it's the law. It's the law. Coronavirus. It's the law. Whatever they want, whatever anybody in some situation where they are confronting you wants, it's the law. Whatever any private business says is its policy, is now the law. Tripping off the tongues of a legion of Hitlers and Hitleresses and fascist little jumped up pricks, twats, cunts and fucking tossers. It's the law. Coronavirus. I hope you didn't tune in for articulate debate. 07903 953 759 if you'd like to discuss the issues that have arisen in the news over the last week. It's the law. Wearing a mask. If we say it's the law, even though it isn't. Sanitizing your hands. It's the law. If we say it is, even though it isn't. What time our shop opens. It's the law. Even though it's our policy. Oh yeah, Bugs Bunny, I'm coming to that. Stay tuned. I've got some laws coming. So I'll tell you some things that weren't in the newspapers, but they are actually out there in media land. I listen to a lot of Radio 4. It's a load of pish. However, they do invite some very interesting people on. The head of the government's scientific advisory group, representatives of private industry, pharmaceutical company representatives, lawyers, judges, and international spokespeople. And so, without being able to recount all of the details of all of the shows I have heard while I've been on the road, I will tell you the following. Roadside vaccination manned by the army is coming in Britain. I don't know about your country, maybe, maybe not. Let's wait and see. But what they have planned in Britain, where they bought enough vaccine to give every adult 5 doses, is roadside vaccination. They're calling it drive-through. Lie-to, I would call it. Drive-through vaccination. Well, you'll simply be stopped at the road and injected with some goo that they cooked up in a laboratory last night. Roadside vaccination, which they will no doubt tell you, it's the law. Here's what, although it was, in a sense, in the papers, it's the law. I'm sorry, we have to fuck you in the ass. It's the law. I'm sorry, we have to shoot you up with this goo. I'm sorry, we have to shoot you in the face if you refuse. It's the law. I'm sorry, we have to do whatever we want. We're not even sorry. It's the law. Bend over. Hands up against the wall. Turn out your pockets. Empty your brains. It's the law. So, the illusion of risk is being promoted in a theatre by all of this. The illusion of risk is what's going down, people. I'm looking at people who can't get their masks on quick enough before they get to the shop. They really can't. Some of them arrive in their cars wearing their masks. It's the illusion of risks. Now, in Scotland, nobody's died for weeks. In England, 14 people died last week. That's 2 a day. It took me a while to find that figure. 2 a day. Honestly, more people die because a bee went up their nose than die from coronavirus. The illusion of risk. Demanding that you sanitize your hands, making you afraid that the whole world, fear, yes, fear, you're all going to die unless you do. Unless you do exactly what we say, you're going to die. It's the law. Be afraid. It's the law. Tremble, quake, quiver in feardom, and then do exactly as we tell you for your own safety. It's the law. There is no threat. I assure you, there is no more threat to your safety and well-being from coronavirus than there is from being struck by lightning. The risks of you dying are small, just like they always were. Sure, there's a risk of you dying. Do you want to let the government fuck you in the ass, shoot you with goo at the side of the road while the army stands there and says it's the law because life is dangerous anyway? No, fuck that shit. I certainly won't be having a vaccination. So what? It kind of begs the question, for me, a lot. Since this is a load of pish, since this is an unreal theatre, a drama, an unfolding movie of fear played out for your benefit, not for your benefit. That's just a figure of speech. It's not for your benefit. It's to make you afraid. To make you afraid so that what? So we can destroy the economy? What, because rich people don't like being rich anymore? No, I don't buy it. Although the economy has been destroyed. What's coming down the line? Mass unemployment, poverty, queuing for food, queuing for your vaccine, certainly. Because these people here, honestly, they'd queue all day to get a shot of fucking Roundup in the arm. That's for sure. They can't wait to do exactly as they're told. And also, they can't wait to make you do what they're told. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm experiencing. They can't wait to make me do what they're told. And I don't do that. So there's going to be trouble. There's going to be trouble, folks. Because I don't do that. So what is it then? If it's not the coronavirus, here's a couple of fucking zombies. They've left the shop, they're still wearing their masks. It's cold, it's wet, it's raining, they're in the outdoors. What the fuck are they afraid of? What the fuck are they? Yeah, only they can save us. We'll save you. Bend over. Take it in the ass. We'll save you. Open wide while I put it down your throat. They will save us. Not. So what do they have in mind? My favourite theory, still to this day, is they're going to kill us all. Really. There's no point in destroying the economy just so that you can have greater control over us. They already had great control over us. Honestly, any number of national emergencies could have instituted these kind of... They could have pretended, you know, Scientologists were terrorists and they released an Uber bug in the underground. There's any number of reasons that greater control of the masses could have been afforded the powers that be without destroying the economy. Yeah, I also don't buy that it's just to make Big Pharma rich. Big Pharma are rich. And, like, see, if you're into playing the stock market, if you want to be rich, you know, if you want to have money and invest it and make more money, man, buy shares in mobile phone companies. Honestly, they're fucking... they are oozing profits. They are some of the most profitable companies on earth. There's plenty of profit to be had. Big Pharma, if you like, isn't going to make that much money. It's the coming of Zion. That's such a Western zeitgeist. Honestly, it is. You see the people of India, China, the Far Eastern Archipelago, Brazil, Central America, they don't give a fuck about the Jews. They don't. It's the Vatican for them. The Jews are fuck all to these people. Honestly, there's only 19 million Jews on the planet, and the few wealthy banking families who claim to be Jewish, they're not Jewish. They're bankers. So I don't buy a religious... kind of play, a religious movie is at work, that somehow they're preparing the ground for the second coming of Jesus or something like that. No, my favourite narrative, which I'm sure regular viewers will be aware of, is the few people who own the planet know fine well it's fucked. They know there's too many people, and that their survival, the survival of the few very, very, very rich people who own and control everything of importance and value on Earth, and of whom you are their livestock, they don't need you anymore. They don't. In fact, you're antipathic to their survival. They don't need you, and they don't want you. They don't want plastic in their ocean, they don't want poison in their air, and they don't want climate change to destroy agriculture and habitable parts of the planet where they bought their holiday island. So we've got to go away. Now, one of the ways to get rid of a large number of people quickly is famine. And if you think it's fanciful to suggest that an epidemic is a precursor to famine, I suggest you look at the history books. Because when epidemics happen, people's behaviour gets all fucked up and they stop taking care of business. And also, it would be quite easy to simply engineer a famine by being inept. And that is my mantra at the moment. And so I'm going to let you hear it again. We're going to be killed by the people who own and control this planet by omission, i.e. they just don't do stuff to ensure that we die. By them being inept, they're crap at doing stuff. And so by poorly managing our response to climate change, let's say, they just allow climate change to kill us before they effect its solution. Or by intention. They sat down one day in a big meeting and they said, hey guys, do you know what? There's too many people. Let's kill them all. Anybody got any ideas? And this is some of the shit they came up with. That's my best bet. If there was a roulette wheel spinning right now on the table of life and you asked me where to put my chips, I'd bet my chips on climate change is very real, very bad, very, very going to kill large numbers of people, but not quick enough for the elite, the few wealthy people who own and control everything. So they've come up with some other ways to hurry us along. So that's my take on the coronavirus, plandemic, scamdemic, panicdemic. Moving on. Trump, Biden, and the American elections. Vote none of the above. If perhaps Egyptian priests. They fly in some Egyptian priests from the old brotherhood to go what the what the what the what the what the twat I am over his frozen body, and then they inflate his smile with helium gas from party balloons. My microphone might be a bit dodgy, so I'll unplug it. How's that? Any better? Okay, well, up until now, my microphones worked fine, so perhaps, Bugs Bunny, your audio is the problem. You hear me? Well, I'll plug my microphone back in. Actually, on inspection now, my microphone is a little bent. I see, terrible buffering. Okay, I'm plugging my microphone back in. I believe the audio is better with a microphone. So, Trump-Biden, Biden's a zombie whose smile is inflated with helium gas from party balloons left over from celebrating the birth of the virgin babies whose blood he lives on. And Donald Trump is a clown of such great proportions. Donald Trump is such a clown, I think I find it hard to imagine a more laughable prospect for the people of America than having him continue to rule over you. Now, some people might say, oh, but Trump's a libertarian. Fuck off. Really? Fuck off. If Trump was in Vietnam, he wouldn't be a libertarian. He'd be some kind of quasi-communist. If Trump was part of the ruling family of Saudi Arabia, if he was a prince with half a chance of ruling over you with an iron fist, there's no way he'd be a libertarian. He'd be a fucking rampant Muslim Arab and a flag-waving fan of beheading people for saying Allah didn't exist. Fuck off. Trump's not anything except Trump. Trump's for Trump. Sure, Trump is walking along some libertarian policies that you, the voters of America, might find attractive. Look, I'm with a really Look, I'm in the company of a really good-looking and attractive set of economic principles. Aren't they attractive and good-looking? Vote for me. Trump is not a libertarian. He's not anything but Trump. Trump doesn't give a fuck about you. Trump doesn't give a fuck about libertarian policies or philosophy at all. Not a little bit. And the people of America, to buy into this dichotomy, this false choice between one thing or another, are like deer in the headlights. Oh no! Oh, if I don't vote for one of these, the steamroller of tyranny will run me over. Don't vote for them. Do not vote for them. I urge you, I implore you, people of America. Do you know what would be a great election vote? It's election night. CNN and Fox News are covering it. CNN and Fox News are covering the election. Concerned faces. And voter turnout is historically low everywhere. In fact, nobody has voted. Nobody has voted. Imagine that. Imagine that the political class of America could not claim any mandate to form a government at all because the people of America simply turned their back on them. Just turned their back on them and said, do you know what? Fuck you both. Fuck the Democrats and the Republicans. They're both full of lying, cocksucking scum. Both of them. And don't vote for either of them, would be my advice if I were American. Okay, what else wasn't in the news this week? Climate change, which I kind of covered as the reason for your impending death, or at least the destruction of the economy, the ruining of agriculture, the poverty, the homelessness, the joblessness, and the rising cost of food. Climate change this week made a couple of appearances in the paper. Greenland, the ice on Greenland is melting faster than ever before. Which is only a problem if you're worried about sea levels rising. See, the whole sea level rising thing. This is kind of it's like, I don't wish to be mean to Greta Thunberg. I'm sure she means well. But polar bears and the sea level rising, the least of your problems. They really are. Like, who's going to stand on the beach and be drowned over the next 100 years? Oh no, it's up to my ankles. Oh no, Greenland is melting even quicker. Oh wait, there, it's up to my shins. Oh no, oh that's been 50 years and it's reached my knees. Sea level rise is not your problem. Really, it's not. The sea level is rising. It's rising at such and such a rate. The rate that it is rising is increasing. Ice is melting quicker. Global temperatures are going up. Okay, the polar bear, fuck the polar bear. Honestly, species come and go. Ooh, there goes another species. Here comes another one. Fuck the polar bear. Fuck the sea levels rising. Your problem, and the problem of people who like to eat on Earth, is agriculture. Because agriculture will go away much quicker than ice. Ice takes a long time to melt. And while it's melting, you can move. If you were standing on the seashore watching the sea level rising, you could just leave. I think I'll go inland a little bit. Sea level and polar bears. Oh, it's radiation, it's not CO2. Honestly, I do tire of people who are not able to articulate anything about the greenhouse effect. I'm not going to rehearse my interest in science or the theory that underpins the greenhouse effect just now, but you can rest assured that it is my position and my opinion that people who are not familiar with the greenhouse effect and how it relates to climate change are total fucking morons. And if you don't like that, fuck off. I'm really not here to be popular. I don't do this so that people can suck my dick and like me. I do this because I like saying this shit. I do this to have my say. And I say, if you don't believe that humans have affected the climate, you're a total fucking retard. And you should fuck off, because I have nothing but more of this for you, okay? So tune in if you'd like some more of that, dick. All right? So climate change. Good morning, Sandy McNabb. So climate change is a thing. Humans did it, and we're all going to suffer. And the result on agriculture will happen much quicker than you are ready for. I assure you. Yum yum, nom 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 nom. And in fact, the wheat harvest in Britain is down 35% this year. And crops around the world. Now, interestingly, because of farming practices and the use of fossil fuels, I know the irony, because of the spreading use of industrial agriculture, actually some crop yields are up because giant tractors and agricultural equipment is now more available in more places. That's a short-term bell curve, I assure you. So climate change in the news this week. Another thing that was in the news this week in Britain was the Salman Abedi trial about the Manchester Arena bomber. He's been sentenced, he's going to jail for a long time, and he's totally guilty, blah, blah, blah. But what wasn't in the papers about that was that he received his training by going to Libya, where people, Raj crazy Muslim jihadists that we armed, that we paid for, that we encouraged, that we facilitated to attack Colonel Gaddafi, trained him and made him into a killer. And David Cameron and Theresa May waved them in and out of Britain with a big smile. Yes, go to Libya and fight Colonel Gaddafi, he's bad. Join a crazy Muslim jihadist group to fight him. We'll parachute you some Semtex into the desert. No, Colonel Gaddafi was not a nut. He indeed and surely was not a nut. He was, given to violence, and he was a thug, but he wasn't a nut, I would say. I wouldn't let him babysit my children, though. just to be clear. And this narrative of us funding crazy jihadist Muslim crazy people all over the world to create terror that we then claim is, oh, it's awful, we've got to take away your freedoms and spy on you because of terror. This all began, of course, with 9/11. Never forget. Well, you should get on the train, man. You should get with the program. Really, you should. So the war on terror. The war on terror is a war on you. It's a war of terror. It's the war of terror on you. Let's just go over those ISIS events again. It is widely reported and known that Saudi Arabia funded ISIS. Now, I remember the 4 years that we, the West, allegedly fought ISIS in the desert between Syria and Iraq. I remember briefings and videos coming on British television about how our Air Force were heroically bombing sand dunes. They bombed a compound in the desert thought to belong to ISIS, blah, 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 blah. ISIS took over millions of square miles of country. And they did it with money from Saudi Arabia, and they also did it by, they paid £750 a month to anyone around the world who would go and join them as a fighter. And they got this money by selling Turkey oil that they were getting from the refineries and storage depots and facilities that they'd taken over in northern Iraq and Syria. They were a complete construct of the West, and we lied for years, 4 or 5 years, to our people, saying we were fighting them and we were bombing sand dunes and occasionally blowing up a Toyota pickup truck so that the media could have something to salivate over. But in fact, we were paying them to do that because we were hoping to create a United States of Saudi Arabia. And then what happened? What happened was, it was comical. It was, honestly, I have seldom enjoyed news so much as the 14 days it took Russia to destroy ISIS. 14 days. Russia came into the war on Assad's side in Syria. I swear, the Russian Air Force in 14 days, Google this, they destroyed 5,000 oil tanker trucks, 3 oil refineries and 2 storage depots in 14 days. That was it. Now, these facilities were on Google Earth. I find it hard to imagine that our incredibly powerful Western military couldn't find them, especially since we fucking built most of them. We built this shit. We built this shit. It was on Google Earth. What? Our Air Force couldn't find them? We couldn't bomb 5,000 fucking oil tankers in the desert. There's not even any foliage to give you cover. I swear, it's just beige fucking silicate to the horizon. Oh, what's that over there? I don't know. Looks a lot like an oil refinery. No, it can't be, or we would have bombed it. The war on terror is a war on you and your freedom and your intelligence. And anybody who buys it is as thick as shit. And unfortunately, that's most of the people I'm surrounded by, arriving here in their cars, wearing masks. Oh, the irony of it. Honestly, believe me, the irony's not lost on me. The fumes from burning fossil fuels are now known, this was in the news this week as well, now known to be responsible for the epidemic of asthma, dementia, Parkinson's, strokes, heart attacks on Earth. Burning fossil fuels. And these people arrive here wearing masks in their cars because they might catch something in the supermarket, which is a wholly sterile environment full of food that was irradiated so it would last long enough to ship it from Indonesia, and people who have been totally cleaned of all intelligence. We have a call. Good morning, who's on the line?
Deek, my name's Happy. How you doing?
Happy, I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. Listen, I've only just tuned into you. I've watched a few of your bits and pieces. And I agree with a hell of a lot you say. And of course, everything is messed up. But I just want to, just from my perspective, when you say we, you're kind of trying to include me, right? For instance, and so the great big we kind of makes us flag bearers, right? And the only thing that the flag of any country will do is steal money from you, is you know, take is incarcerate you, is sell weapons that you don't want to be sold. And so by getting involved in the narrative of any part of the news, or suggesting that whatever we see on Google or in the press is relevant, in a weird way for me, takes us down a rabbit hole of belief that we are part of it, number one, which we're not, and number two, that any part of it would be true rather than what we see through our eyes.
Well, I may be using the royal we. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly when I said we, or.
Well, no, quite often you say, because we do this, and it's okay. I'm not giving you a hard time. It's just that.
Oh no, I don't mind
conscious.
if you do. I'm
practice. I practice. I've tried to eliminate two words from my vocabulary, which is, I try not to say believe, and I try not to say think. To remind me not to do either of them, because if I believe something, it means it's a story from outside of my experience. And so certainly in this insane, messed up time where we are being lied to at the most incredible level, and again, I'll take power for that, I'm being lied to and you're being lied to. I can't speak on behalf of everybody. Some people really believe that it's all true, because they're living in a land of belief. I mean, I've just done my morning meditation on a beach in Hastings, and there are people walking on a beach with the most fantastically good, healthy, ozone-filled air imaginable, wearing masks.
I know.
That's what belief is doing for us.
I'm sitting in the Lake District with similarly good quality of air, and as I've just been saying, people are driving their cars to the supermarket wearing a mask.
And this is
while they're in their car.
Fear. And what we're living in a world now where the fear of dying, which is the one thing we can all guarantee, is stopping people living. You know, I'd rather spend one day in the sun than live a week in fear in my house.
Well,
you know?
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and if you've watched some of my stuff, you might have heard me occasionally start a video with, "Hi, I'm Deek Jackson, and I'm already dead."
Well, maybe we are, Deek.
Which is, well, I think it's a way of philosophically shedding your fear of death. It's a way, as you're talking about neuro-linguistic programming, I have myself, over the course of my life, engaged in various forms of self-discipline. I've attempted to not say the word should, or to use the word I, and
actually, I is quite good. I is better than saying you, because then at least you take ownership when you say I.
Well,
You're taking ownership of your opinion and that's why when you say I feel, then I'm not talking on behalf of anybody else.
I think these things are useful and entertaining things to practice and to experience in your life. What I would say about a couple of things. Have you ever read the book The Fan Man?
No, I haven't.
There's a part in it where the man decides that one day a week he's only going to say the word dorky.
Yeah, sounds
right?
Great already.
And so
I'm gonna look at it. Don't worry, I will be reading it.
I recommend it. It's a good book, and this part is particularly good. So because he's attempting this kind of discipline that people sometimes need to explore and engage with in their life. And so he says, I'm only going to say dorky one day a week, and no matter what happens, I must only say dorky. I can say, you know, a lot, but I can only say dorky. So when somebody comes to the door and he opens it and they say, "Hi there, how's it going?" He says nothing until they say, Are you dumb? Can you not speak?" And then he's got to say dorky. Dorky, 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 dorky.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
One day, after he's been doing this a while, he comes home and finds his best friend screwing his girlfriend in his bed. which is a severe test of his attempt at the discipline of only saying what you think is right to say.
Yeah.
And so
it seems to be the most appropriate word at the time.
but he does maintain his cool, and there's just a page full of dorky. dorky. So I'm aware
Yeah.
of the
No, so anyway, the only reason I brought that up is because it's like, so when one catching myself there suggests that that the Russians can do this to the Syria and all of these things, which is what is a very common narrative from everybody, because they have a belief that somehow these things are all separate. And I'm sure that you, myself, and many people that are listening right now are fully aware that it's just one gang. That actually what they're doing is by the divisions they've set amongst their own flags means that we have no idea. Most people have no idea that it's just one gang that's doing the whole thing, and this becomes more relevant now than at any time, because there's not one single voice of a nation that's standing up going, look, this is made up. And as we know, any decent doctors, professors, people that have really got their eye on the ball and and are actually using their cognitive skills to be able to work out what's going on, know that there is and hasn't been any we've been given a word. It's a little bit like, this is my analogy. My wife went through cancer last year, and things have worked out okay. But I have an analogy that I use now for both it's not a curing of cancer, but the horror that they do to people that have cancer, and it's the same analogy for war. So. I'm in, as I said, I'm in Hastings now. The nearest town is Bexhill, so this is going to be my analogy. So a guy gets home from work. His house has been broken into. His beautiful wife and 3 perfect kids have been brutally beaten, raped, and murdered. And just to really add a bit of jalapeno to this, because the son's been beheaded. And obviously, this guy his rage and his darkness is so fierce that even though we're feeling it for him, we can't actually purely empathize, because you don't want to be in that place. And so we call the police, and the police come, and one of them notices immediately the guy across the road has got a brand new CCTV system, 4K, and in one of the cameras is pointing right at our guy's house. It's so good you can zoom into a nasal hair and it's in focus. So we work out very quickly that it's Dave from Bexhill, which is the next town down, right? So it's Dave from Bexhill, and he's part of the ooh-ah gang, right? And so obviously, and he's covered in blood and laughing, and there's other members of the ooh-ah gang there. So obviously, because of court cases and the way this shit works, they want to get forensics in, so they get them in. It's the blood, the semen, the fingerprints, the footprints. It's definitely them. So we got a choice now. Do we get our best guys to go and get Dave and the URR gang, or should we blow up Bexhill? Because this is what when we're given these narratives, this is what people are led to believe. You get a name, Saddam Hussein, Bin Laden, whoever, it doesn't really matter, and a gang name, and somehow that gives permission in other people's souls in different lands for an entire nation to be destroyed. And so while we consider any of them to be separate, which they're not, the only ones that get destroyed are the ones that are not playing the game. We give ourselves to it. I mean, for me, right now, the only time mask, all of it, and I'm sure you feel the same. That to a degree, I'm actually now bored of interacting with people that I'm trying to convince anybody any differently, because that it's so embedded. I mean, I kind of, be more interesting to hear you talking to not somebody like myself, but someone that's in on that believes.
Well, because I might do some vox pops on the street. You never know. I
mean, it'd be great to see people that are actually in, that are fully committed to everything that the government is telling them, and that actually feel that somehow this wearing of the mask is either saving them or helping others, which, or protecting the end. I mean, just every narrative we're given for me, is so confusing as to being just nothing short of ridiculous.
Couple of things I would say about what you've been talking about. First of all, the people of Hastings want to kill the people of Bexhill in the narratives that are created for us by our governments. We don't give a fuck about the Arabs, these other people, and it comes down to a kind of plausible... The stories that we're told are just to give us plausible denial. Oh yeah,
Totally.
the
Totally.
war on terror. Yeah, that's fine with me because they're bombing Arab Muslims, and I don't give a fuck about them. So almost any half-assed pish that we get told about the war on terror will do for us. Because we already don't care about those people. So we're not even putting much scrutiny upon the story of why it is we're bombing Bexhill because we already don't care.
No,
And
absolutely.
so
Something bad happened there, so that's good enough. We've
the
been told
yeah
something bad
the
happened there, so
the
that
thinnest
must be good enough.
yeah the thinnest veneer of story will do. And the other thing, like you were saying about the we or them or what group or gang you inhabit,
Collectivism, yeah.
the for me there's a fluidity to this concept of us and them. Otherness is a fluid thing. Now, when I'm a pedestrian, but I could become a motorist simply by getting into my car. I could be a nationalist by joining the demo. I could be in the congregation simply by walking in the door. And so I don't think there's a kind of fixed framework around people's identities or behavior. It changes.
No, but they feel that there is. They feel that there is. I'm with you completely. That it's the acceptance that look, you can be a saint or a sinner, right? You can be the rescuer or the paedophile, right? Everybody has the ability to be everything within them, and it's just them sitting within their soul and knowing what's right and wrong for them. Not what they're told is right and wrong, what is right and wrong for them. And 99% of people, if they actually look within rather than without, would instantly become better people. But we live in a world where the war, the real war is for our attention. And where you give your attention is where you are. And because we're taken away from where we are and our attention is taken to so many
Well, that is what I'm
things.
saying about being in the congregation when you walk in the door, being a motorist when you get in the car. And I'm glad what you're describing, this landscape of human behavior and or belief at any one time, what people are being. I think you're being what you are being at any one time. At the moment, I am sitting down, and until I start behaving.
No, that's it. You are where you are. This is again. Look, I practice. I'm no monk, man, but I try my best to practice that, which is why I meditate every morning. Which is I try and make sure that if when my head gets too busy with any form of shit, that I put it down for a second. You've still got the same shit to deal with, but you pick it up in a different way. It's a bit like the old crackerjack game, double or drop. You're holding all of the stuff every 20 minutes, and you need to just put it down. You still might have the stuff to deal with, but you pick it up and hold it in a better way.
So with all of this in mind, if you've seen any of my recent stuff about religion and about the astronomers, for the benefit of anybody who has and might be listening to this and wondering how that fits into this kind of you are what you is framework, it's two slug air. There is a war on, and I am now fighting the war. I'm going to encourage people to be religious, to be the right religion for their own protection, because the things that are happening to us are going to get worse, and the people who are protected, the way that you could become protected from the things that are going to happen to us are limited, and one of the limitations is religion. And I am making it my business at this moment to be religious for the purpose of protection and for the purpose of weaponizing belief on my behalf and on the behalf of anybody else who cares to join the astronomers and claim the protection of belief. Because the protection of belief is one of the few things currently you could use as an umbrella against the tyrannies that are coming down upon us.
This is why I choose not to use that particular word, and I'll tell you for why. So if somebody says to me that they believe in God, Allah, Shiva, Krishna, it doesn't really matter what it is. I will still love them, but I figure that they haven't really looked in any other directions. However, if somebody says they feel there's God, Krishna, Allah, or whatever, they've never got my interest, because they feel this thing rather than believe it. It's not something that's been told to them; it's something they feel. Now, if somebody says they know, right? And then that got my total fascination. And I will sit and I'll listen. I won't believe a word. However, if what they say changes my vibrational feeling, then maybe I'll walk in their direction for a while.
Well, I'm aware that religion is an artifice. However, as I've been saying, I'm creating one. It is my intention to create and to maintain an artifice of religious belief in order to protect me from other people's beliefs. And although I agree with you, and I have travelled a similar road of in pursuit of various states of being, there are times and places to sit and talk, and there are times and places to get up and smack somebody in the mouth.
Listen, as I always say, it takes 38 muscles to frown, only 4 to smack someone in the mouth. Deek, I've got my wife on the other line. If I don't take it, I'm going to be murdered.
Well,
so
Happy,
keep up the good work.
Good talking to you.
Again.
Cheers, man.
All right, mate. Bye.
Bye. Okay, thanks for calling, Happy. I genuinely enjoy these calls, people. If anybody wants to phone in, don't be worried if you disagree with me. I disagree with you. I guarantee you, before you even call, I disagree with you. So don't let that stop you calling me, because we could have some fun, we could have an interesting conversation, and other people might find it interesting, entertaining, enlightening, or other things. So please, do call in if you'd like to share your views or your non-beliefs, as Happy was happy to do there. So moving on then to what the papers didn't say. This is quite a long show today. That's usually the case, I think, with that Sunday morning roundup. So no apologies from me for that. Belarus and Lukashenko, the European Union and Putin and all of that. For the people of Belarus, whoever they may be or think they are, I have nothing but sympathy, because it would seem that you're about to get out of the liar and into the lying land. It really would. If you think Europe offers you any kind of salvation, peace, freedom and democracy at all, you are sadly mistaken, delusional, and engaging in a form of wishful thinking, which I sometimes wish I was capable of. Honestly, the European Union is an economic toilet. They're already broke, and things are getting worse. You would be better to be on your own as a country, to be free and independent. If you like being a country, then be one on your own. Disavow yourself of the need for allies or allegiances outside of your own people and the taking care of their needs. Because neither Putin nor the Europeans are your friends. And currently, I think what we have is a fight over who gets your mobile phone contracts, a fight over who supplies your natural gas, a fight over who lends your people mortgages to buy the property that's on the land that they already inhabit. That's the kind of bullshit that is happening in Belarus. And yes. That's really all that was in or not in the newspapers, and now it's really just a roundup of the kind of background to what those stories represent. And from the top, coronavirus is the law. Why? Because of the tyranny of the masses. Because the masses wanted there to be laws, and now they are hoisted on their own petard in desiring proxy violence on your behalf, on desiring agency to sort out your shit for you, in desiring institutions to take over your life. You have created the tyranny that now surrounds you and pervades your life, and will now surely march you over the cliff like lemmings, smiling and singing the song, "We all wanted this, now we're going to get it." Yes, you are. You wanted it, you paid for it, and now you're going to get it. The tyranny of the masses. And if you don't want to succumb to or be subjected to the tyranny of the masses, on your behalf, I am, as I was discussing with Happy there, creating an artifice of a religion called the astronomers. And if you proclaim yourself to be an astronomer, I believe, in fact, I legally assure you, it's beyond belief, I assure you from a legal perspective, the rights of religious people are protected. It's a fact. You can look it up. And unless you subscribe to some kind of religious belief, you don't have those protections, which is a shame, because they're good protections, such as when you roll up to the checkpoint manned by the army who wish to inject you with the goo that came from the factory they built last week. You can claim, I'm sorry, my religion says I'm not doing that. Hello, who's on the line?
Deek, it's Happy again. I'm sorry, I'm back in. I just wanted to join on your religion of astronomy, which I hadn't actually heard of.
Oh well, good. I'm glad you're joining the astronomers. We need all the astronomers we can get.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm in, and I'm in. All right, I'll give you that for sure. Well, I feel that I might again. Entomology and wordplay is used to completely confuse us, and when we can break it down, sometimes we can see the truth. But my feeling is that religion is religion come back together, so you're onto the right path, and actually irrespective of what's legal or not, because as we know what's happening in Melbourne, I mean, they're busting into people's houses, they're taking them off the streets. The word legal is the law is of no help any longer, but the law of the soul is the law of the soul. All of the law is within you. You are the law. And I don't know if you're basing the astronomy on astronomy, but as we know, for instance, the Vatican has more telescopes than any other entity on Earth.
That's right.
One thing I don't know if you have talked about or noticed is the new star that appeared on the 21st of March, just before they locked us in first time. Then there have been various things. People are saying it's Venus, which it's clearly not. It seems to be separate from the bands of all of the other lunar sky, and it's back again now. You have to look south any evening. Its luminosity is brighter than the moon. It's the brightest thing in the sky by a very long way. And having played the game of maybe what's happened in past life, which again, history is his story. We're given a whole load of bullshit, and I mean real bullshit stuff that is beyond, in my opinion. As an example, just driving through Hastings now on my way back to pick my wife up. The housing stock here, as it is all over the UK, all over Scotland, England, Wales, in fact, all over the world, is astonishing and unbuildable today. It's all got ceilings that are 12 to 15 feet high, mostly, unless it's been built in the last 100 years. And we're given the narrative that somehow people in the 1850s to 1900s built it all. Now, which is obviously, just look at the pictures from that era. They couldn't build a pair of shoes. They couldn't make a cart to pull apples on. So there's no, and if you look at the pictures, these buildings are already here and they're already old, right? So what we're taught and is everything. I mean, I'm one of these people that genuinely feels that everything. It drives my wife mad. That everything is a lie, that I'm being lied to at all points, and the only thing I can trust is my reasoning. I don't know what the truth is, but I know what bullshit is.
Well, Happy,
and I have to go by that.
You will enjoy the fourth principle of the astronomers, which is
okay. Let's have it.
Which is conscience. You are the only person who can decide what is right and wrong, good or bad. You're the only one who can make that decision.
Bam. Boom. And let me tell look, when I started to this ridiculous, I don't even want to say the word because it just made me upset, this C19 crap. When I started to debate this, not only my wife, many people were like, well, you're not a doctor. And I went, well, I am. I'm my doctor.
That's right.
The only person that can tell me if I feel unwell is me.
Happy,
right?
you're singing my song. I've been telling people for years, I am my doctor, I am my lawyer, and I am
Yes.
my judge.
100%. And if that's your astronomer's religion, Deek, then I'm in. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a follower. I'm just in.
Well, no, you're just practicing. You're practicing.
Listen, like the band again. Life is a practice. I always use the analogy of a musical instrument. If you see yourself as a musical instrument, you're given a couple of chords to play to begin with. And you know what? I thrashed mine out really well in my younger days. And then eventually you get to the point where you go, oh, these tunes are boring. And, you know, me personally, I smashed my instrument up. Thank goodness you can rebuild anything again. And then you learn that it's a practice. Life is a practice. Music is a practice.
Practice, yeah. Practice being human till we get it right. Yeah. And so, well, welcome to the astronomers. You're the second astronomer today. And at this rate, there'll be 1 billion of us by the end of the week if it's exponential.
Dude, well, I'm in, and I'm going. Listen, do you know what? I don't often, because I don't do Arsebook. I do a little bit of Instagram, but I take pictures of trees and flowers and water. I have no interest in showing myself or what I've eaten or any part of an ego. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to. I will share you verbally.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a website, theastronomers.org. There is a Facebook group and page. I'm working on the Bible, how to practice astronomy. You should take all of this. You should take all of this with a pinch of salt, with your tongue in your cheek. But when you get to the army roadblock that wishes to vaccinate you, you should maintain strongly that your religion forbids you to have a medical procedure that you do not in conscience agree to.
100%. And listen, myself and certainly my 3 kids who thank God are older, right? Because the people I worry for are the people with younger kids, because they're going to take them. They're going to test you, and then if you take your kids. This is what the game is coming now. So, dude, I will go to astronomers.org and I'll find you at a different level. But I'm now actually going to go and take my wife a break.
Okay, have a good day, Happy.
Namaste to you and everybody that's listening. Take care.
Cheers, man. Ta-ra. Bye. Okay, so that's 2 astronomers today, and as I said, at that rate, exponentially speaking, there will be 1 billion astronomers by the end of the week. And we need them because there's a war on Earth, and it's a war against stupidity and dumbness and idiocy. And only by practicing astronomy can you help to fight it. It will be G4S, but if you object, they'll get the army. I mean, I'm familiar with that. We've subcontracted tyranny. Hey, you should form a limited company and see if you can get the contract for some tyranny, because there's big money in tyranny. So, freedom and liberty are available, but they're only available at the moment in small amounts to limited groups of people. My interest is becoming one of those groups of people and getting some of that freedom and liberty. And if you're interested in that as well, join the astronomers, praise the laws, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. I know I'm gonna.